For 30 minutes, Anthony had quietly watched his wife Rosalie glide through the lavish ballroom with the poise of a seasoned ballerina. Every movement drew the attention of the wealthy and self-satisfied guests like moths to a flame. She was breathtaking, a vision of charm, her laughter ringing like music amidst the sea of designer suits and sparkling gowns. Yet for Anthony, she was more than mesmerizing. She was a manifestation of betrayal, determined to act before midnight struck, he observed, as she floated effortlessly among the attendees, planting kisses on cheeks and embracing nearly every executive from his office. Leading the charge was his insufferably arrogant boss, Peter Dewitt. Was a familiar spectacle, one he'd witnessed at every company New Year's Eve event for the past 2 years. The first time, Anthony dismissed it as champagne-fueled folly. By the second, his patience had worn thin. A long-conceived plan was ready to unfold. A light tug at his sleeve broke his focus. Turning, Anthony faced Deidre, Rosalie's closest confidant and frequent partner in social antics. Deidre, with her flawless features and effortless air of superiority, offered a radiant smile. "Happy New Year, Anthony," she said, leaning for the customary kiss, which he dodged with thinly veiled disdain. Her smile wavered but quickly returned. "Don't take it too hard," she murmured. "It's just attention. She'll come back to you and everything will be fine. She loves you, you know." Anthony raised an eyebrow. Skeptically, Deidre continued, her tone pleading. "She does, Anthony. Rosalie is just vibrant. She thrives on energy and admiration. But that doesn't mean she values you any less." "Really?" he replied, his voice icy. "Is that why she spent last year's Christmas under the mistletoe with half her colleagues? Or why tonight she's kissed Peter Dew countless times, knowing how much I despise him? Tell me, Deidre, is this her twisted way of showing love?" Deidre blushed, her usual composure slipping. "Anthony, He cut her off, his tone firm yet resolute. "I gave her a year to decide. Yes, now it's my turn." Without a word, Anthony walked to their table. Beneath it, he retrieved a large, brightly wrapped package. Carefully he removed his wedding ring, tied it to the ribbon, and handed the package to Deidre. "Give this to her," he said coldly. "Let her understand. I hope she receives exactly what she deserves. Happy New Year, Anthony." "Wait," Deidre pleaded, clutching his arm. "I'll bring her to you. She's had too much to drink. Take her home." He shook his head. "No need. She booked a suite earlier. She has her car, her belongings, and her companions. Let them manage her. Goodbye, Deidre. I'll be glad never to see you again." Leaving the ballroom, Anthony nodded at Helen, the company's HR director. Helen had spent the afternoon assisting him gather evidence while the executives, including Rosalie, indulged themselves in the suite above. Now Helen held the proof, photos, videos, and receipts ready for the board chairman. Inside, the celebration raged on. Deidre pushed through the crowd to Rosalie, who was deep in conversation with Peter Dew. "Rosalie," Deidre called sharply. Rosalie turned, a frown crossing her flawless face. Deidre thrust the package into her hands. "Anthony left this for you." "It was gone." Rosalie laughed, her voice lilting. "Oh, Anthony, he always sulks when I don't give him enough attention. I'll go home, apologize, and he'll feel foolish. He loves me too much to stay mad." She glanced at the package, her lips curling into a smile. "See, even when he's upset, he brings gifts." "Rosalie, wait," Deidre began. Rosalie was already undoing the ribbon. The ring fell with a faint ring. Peter picked it up, smirking. "Isn't this your husband's wedding ring?" Rosalie's smile faltered as she snatched it from him. Her hands moved faster, tearing the paper to reveal a pristine white box. With nervous excitement she opened it. Contents spilled onto the floor. Photographs and USB drives scattered across the tiles. The room fell silent as curious guests stooped to inspect items. Faces froze in shock as they saw explicit images of Rosalie entangled with multiple men and women, many her colleagues, some her superiors, including Peter. Rosalie gasped, her color draining. "No!" she screamed, shattering the stunned quiet. Peter's expression hardened as he held a photo. His voice boomed. "Rosalie, what is the meaning of this?" The crowd erupted into chaos. Spouses shouted accusations and slapped each other. Names were called, threats exchanged. One bold woman held up a photo, announcing, "If your husband works at Clemenson and Sons, you need to see this." Amid the chaos, Rosalie fainted. Deidre caught her, whispering shakily, "I tried to warn you." Far away, Anthony drove into the night, free for the first time in years. The aftermath of Rosalie Martin. The ballroom still spun in Rosalie Martin's mind as she tried to regain composure. The pandemonium around her felt surreal. A man in a perfect tuxedo knelt beside her, concern flickering across his sharp features, his calm, steady voice breaking through the fog. "Are you all right, miss?" he asked softly. Rosalie blinked, trying to steady herself. Rosalie Martin," she whispered, her voice quivering, though she doubted anyone could help her now. The man's eyebrows lifted slightly, recognition dawning in his eyes. "Rosalie Martin," he repeated almost to himself. Then, with an air of finality, he pulled a thick stack of papers from his jacket. Without warning, he snapped a photo of her. Stunned expression rising to his full height, he addressed the room in a commanding tone. "Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Rosalie Martin has been officially served," he declared. "These documents, together with the enclosed photos and videos, are part of the divorce proceedings initiated by her husband, Anthony Martin." A hush swept through the crowd as whispers ricocheted around the room. The man continued, his tone laced with irony. "For those who haven't yet reviewed the contents, fear not, they are now part of the public record. Digital copies are available upon request for a nominal fee." With a theatrical bow, he departed, leaving behind a storm of tears, accusations, and shattered illusions. Rosalie's world unraveled. Still clutching the divorce papers, she sat frozen on the ballroom floor. Her once magnetic confidence had vanished, replaced by sheer humiliation. She scanned the faces around her, no longer envious or admiring, but filled with disdain, pity, or outright disgust. The room she had once ruled with charm now felt suffocating, unable to bear the weight of their stares. She collapsed into Deidre's arms, her sobs echoing through the hall. Nearby, Peter Clem barked orders at his staff, his face red with rage. "Collect every single one of those photos and destroy them immediately," he snapped, turning to Helen, the company's HR director. "I want a reprimand letter from Anthony Martin on my desk by Monday," followed by his termination papers. Helen's expression remained calm. "That won't be possible, sir," she replied. "Mr. Martin resigned earlier today. His accrued leave was approved, and the board chairman, your father, accepted his resignation." Peter's face turned beet red as Helen continued, her tone steady yet firm. "Additionally, Mr. Martin has secured position with a consulting firm. You personally authorized his transfer." Enraged, Peter muttered curses under his breath, cursing both his Father and Anthony. A journey to freedom. Far from the chaos, Anthony Martin steered his custom-designed all-wheel drive Chevrolet SUV out of New York City. The deep growl of the turbocharged engine echoed his own liberation. Anthony had waited years for this moment. The GPS estimated a 24-hour drive to his new home in Austin, Texas. But Anthony wasn't rushing. For the first time in years, his time was truly his own. He chose scenic back roads over highways, planning stops at diners and markets along the way. He savored small-town charm, homemade preserves, and genuine conversation. A stark contrast to the pretentious elite circles he had left behind. The divorce settlement, though not perfectly balanced, left him financially secure. Rosalie, with her trust funds and penthouse, would barely notice the loss. But for Anthony, the funds represented a fresh start, a reclamation of independence. Rosalie's collapse. Back in New York, Rosalie's parents drove her home. Silent tears streamed as she replayed the night's events. She had spent the ride justifying her actions, convincing herself that her affairs were harmless, a stress release unrelated to her love for Anthony. But entering their shared penthouse, eerily stripped of his belongings, shattered her illusions. The emptiness mirrored the void left in her life. Collapsing onto the cold marble floor, she sobbed uncontrollably. For years, she had dismissed Anthony as mild-mannered, predictable, easy to manipulate. But she had gravely underestimated his determination. The reckoning spreads. The fallout extended far beyond Rosalie. Deidre, her closest confidant, was ensnared as well. Emails and videos revealing her complicity reached her husband, who promptly expelled her. Furious spouses across the city confronted their partners, igniting a chain of betrayals and heartbreak. Clemenson and Sons, the scandal, sent shockwaves through the company. Randolph Clemens, the aging chairman, was forced to return to leadership after removing his son Peter from power. The company teetered on the edge, its future uncertain without Anthony's innovative designs. A new chapter in Austin. Anthony arrived to a warm welcome from his new colleagues. His luxury high-rise apartment, pre-furnished and prepaid for 6 months, offered breathtaking city views. Plans for a barbecue were already underway, promising opportunities to meet the vibrant local community. With renewed sense of purpose, Anthony envisioned his future, building a company reflecting his values, adopting a loyal dog and perhaps finding love with someone who shared his dreams. As the Texas sun set below the horizon, Anthony felt nothing but gratitude for the bold decisions that brought him here. Behind him lay a trail of reckoning. Ahead, the promise of a life rebuilt on his own terms.